from the things that you can kind of control, I mean, the fans can't control it, but obviously the suits can. Is there a move you can make with Gruden, or is the fact that there were so many injuries give him a pass?
I don't think Gruden is the problem. I really don't. And again, whenever we talk about the subject of making a change, my first question is, who are you going to bring in who's better? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there may be someone out there who's better, but I don't think Bill Belichick's taking the job. And I think Gruden's done fine. I don't think he's knocked anybody's socks off as a coach, but I don't think he certainly hasn't been Jim Zorn as a coach either. And they have had a lot of injuries. Everybody in the NFL is injured, especially this time of year. The numbers are, in the case of this team, worse than with some other teams. But as I said to you guys before that Seattle game, would you rather have 5 guys out, or would you rather have your quarterback healthy? And the answer is always you'd rather have your quarterback healthy. And the reason they've been, they're able to beat Seattle, but they should have beaten New Orleans, is because they've had the quarterback healthy. Mm-hmm. And he's had a good year. Again, not a great year. He's not a great quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. He's going to be gone after this year. So Tom Boswell's column the other day was right on the money. They're not going to pay him $34 million to come back, and he's going to walk, and there are going to be all sorts of teams lined up to sign him because he's a good quarterback.
Boz predicted Gibbs was going to stay, and he left a minute later.
Well, Boz has been wrong 100 times. So have I. So have you. We're all wrong at times. Right. I happen to think Boz is right.
Yeah.
And
we'll see.
Do you really think they're going to pay him $34 million to stay?
I don't think they have much of a choice.
They're going to make him an offer, a long-term offer that's going to cause him to stay? No.
I actually think somehow they will, but it's incredibly
annoying. Well, you've been talking about it for, 3 years now, right?
I know. And
not by choice.
I'm not looking forward to talking about it again.
But, John, for me, the most annoying takeaway from last night is that it sets up perfectly for a Bruce Allen scapegoating of Kirk Cousins on his way out of D.C.
You're probably right.
It's just more ammunition for him, even though it's not warranted.
Well, what if I'm Bruce Allen, as Kirk's going out the door, let's say Kirk was going out the door today rather than in January or February, I would say, well, he's 22-1 as a starting quarterback since Jay gave him the job. Does that merit $34 million? And, of course, the answer is no. But what it did merit 2 years ago was giving him a contract that would have contained $45 million guaranteed and would have locked him up for 5 years. That's where they failed.
Right. Of course. Well, listen, you could say he's not worth X amount of dollars. He's going to get a boatload in free agency or whatever if they let him go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's at least half the teams in the league that need a quarterback.
Of course, and we'll be in the same boat, and we'll suck even worse next year. Watch.
You're getting just a little emotion from
lucky to be 22. I have a question for John, because John is always sort of so dispassionate about the local teams because he doesn't really care for them. He doesn't care either way. Do you have a football team?
The Jets have been my team since I was a little kid.
You don't really care.
So I know what suffering is like.
Yeah.
And terrible management. I know what that's like too. I do have a warm spot in my heart for the Ravens because of my association with them in 04. Book Next Man Up.
But do you yell at your kids?
Flacco's one of my guys now.
Do you yell at your kids when the Jets lose?
Right, because that's what Pitt does.
No, I don't yell at my kids when anybody loses.
Oh, well, then you're not real
I'm sort of I occasionally yell at the television set watching the Islanders.
Yeah.
Okay. And watching Army or Navy play football.
All right, so
I said this. I mean, if I'm a Redskins fan, and I'm not, but I wouldn't want to win another game this year. There's no sense in going 7-9.
Well, somebody tweeted that this morning. I saw, just lose out and get a better draft pick. And honestly, teams don't do that, but that wouldn't be a bad strategy. You finish 5-11, and you're going to be drafting in the top 10 as opposed to 15 to 20. Right. The problem is the schedule's weak enough. They'll probably end up winning. Well, they'll probably end up winning maybe 8. I would suspect they won't beat the Chargers next week because the Chargers are playing well. Although their 2 best games this season have been on the West Coast, right? But I would suspect they wouldn't win that game. But, they got the Giants, who are god-awful and who are going to be starting Geno Smith when they play him, and a couple other very winnable games.
Yeah, but they're going to put a bunch of guys on IR. You won't recognize a third of the players.
Yeah, they're going to start putting a lot of these guys.
I'm not sure the guys going on IR are that much worse than the guys who have been playing, who will play.
I understand what you're saying, but you're not going to know the names of the players.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're going to win many of these games down the stretch.
Well, again, all that's relevant now is where they draft, and they're not going to draft high enough to get one of the hot quarterbacks. That's the problem.
Well,
even if they lose out, they're not going to be drafting that high. I saw some story about the Giants getting Sam Darnold, unless they, the Giants are going to have to compete with the Browns for that opportunity. Although the Browns will probably take a defensive tackle.
All those guys are projects.
Well, I mean, there's other guys you can take than Darnold.
All those guys are projects.
Well, you're right, Jason, because you never know which quarterback's going to be the one who emerges as the star. But 2 years ago, Goff and Wentz went 1-2, and they both turned out pretty well.
Yeah, that's why I don't have a problem with what the Giants are doing. I don't think the Giants owe anything to Eli Manning besides the money they pay him. And don't cry for Eli, by the way. He's made $150 million. And NFL,
but it was the way it was handled, Jason.
Okay, maybe they didn't handle it right.
I don't disagree with the notion that benching